All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. As a reminder. Who knows what I'm gonna say? That's right, that's right. Last week we had 3 go on. I couldn't believe it. About fell out of my
Sergeant will get them.
Yeah, they better. So please silence your cell phones. For guests and visitors, my name is Steve Perley, club president. I'd like to welcome you all to the 27th meeting of the 48th year of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. Today's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be offered by Mr. Wynn Wixon.
Please pray with me. We gather today as Rotarians. We want to give you thanks for the abundance of blessings that you've provided, for the opportunities provided to Rotary and other places in our lives. Thank you. Help us to listen as Rotarians in our community and in other places for those who need your love and help. Be with us in our challenges in our lives. And thank you for the food we eat. Amen. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one indivisible.
You didn't say it like you meant it.
Everybody's cold today. Thank you, Wynn. Teresa, yes. Yeah, I don't think we have any other guests other than our speakers who will be introduced. He's basically a member. Well, Nick, we'll get that application to you ASAP. All right, moving right along, Sergeant, Mr. Mike Walton. Remember, $3.
$3. Inflationary cost.
That's right.
So. Yes, today's limit is $3.
I think that's a minimum.
It's yeah. I think we can make that a minimum. Used to be $2, but you know, like I said, inflation. All right, who we have here to carry the pot? Oh my, Teresa Russell, you're let's buy the right there by yourself. Why are you sitting by yourself? Here, carry the pot, then you can maybe somebody else sit down when you get back.
I have a happy dollar.
Happy dollar, okay. Go ahead, Teresa. Start with a happy
So
dollar.
my happy dollar is on my way home, cheating from the gym this morning. I bought a breakfast at McDonald's. Awful for you. And the guy in front of me paid for me.
Nice. Awesome.
And it's National Margarita Day.
Nice. Okay, anybody else? No other happy dollar? Oh my goodness. All right, well, for those of you who did not have a happy dollar, throw in $1.
Oh,
So Teresa can roll around and get those. Who else do we have here? Today, anybody who is not here at the meeting, who doesn't get to see all of our smiling faces, all you Zoom folks, you need to come here to the meeting and see everybody. So all of the Zoom people, you owe $3. You know, we'll find you, we'll track you down. Okay. Take my glasses off so I can read. Today, can you folks name all the special occasions today? Holidays and special national days? I heard one of them, somebody said one of them out there. Anybody else give me any of those? No? All right, well, there's another $1 for everybody. Since they don't know today's Washington's birthday, which wasn't even acknowledged by the president or vice president. Ash Wednesday. For those of you who celebrate Lent. National Margarita Day. Teresa had that. National Margarita Day. It's a National Dog Walking Day. And National Be Humble Day. So in honor of our National Dog Walking Day, if you have not walked your dog yet today, throw in $1. See, there you go. We got somebody who's not walking their dog today. All right. How about Anybody own a cat? Oh my, really, throw in $1. I have a neighbor who walks their cat. My dogs get so mad because that cat is not on a leash. And they have to wear a leash, so. Get those cat lovers over there. How about, those of you folks out there who have seen our bird raffle and have not shared? Need to get out there on social media and share it. So if you have not shared our bird raffle, throw in $1, please. All right, I also saw Tom Rise is not here, but I saw his, is Tom up here? Hey, Tom, go in $1. Well, no, Tom had a special anniversary, 38 years he's been a member of this club. So in honor of that, anybody here that has been a member of this club for 25 years or more? Yeah, we got a few of them out there, all right. If you have not been a member for 25 years, you have not had the privilege of knowing our special members that have been here for a little bit longer. So you can throw in $1. How about?
A while since I've heard anybody say, "Oh, part that polite."
I refer to it as experienced membership because, you know, you got more experience than others. I can't say old, because then I get a lot of grief, so. How about those, gardeners out there? Anybody here been to the home garden show? Raise your hands. Yeah, there's one. The rest of you, I'm sorry, but it's going to have to cost you $1 because you need to support our local events that landscapers like me put on in purpose.
When is it?
It is currently running right now through Sunday. And it's, yeah, it's got gnomes in every garden. So if you like gnomes, or your grandkids like gnomes, take them to the home garden show. You will truly enjoy it. Jerry, you got a question look on your face, buddy.
Already put in my $3.
Okay.
But Mike, you used to bring us free tickets.
Ooh.
I used to bring a free ticket, but this year I only got 2 free tickets and I had to take my wife or I would have been in real deep trouble, so.
You could have paid for her.
I could have, but yeah, that's all I said to you, Jerry, was 2. You believe that? Okay, here we go to end the program. We're gonna go with Jerry's joke of the day. Jerry always ends with a joke. So, why did the employee get fired from the calendar company? Factory. Anybody know? He took a day off. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, anybody with announcements? If you would make your way up here, I would very much appreciate it. First announcement on behalf of Row Morrow, some of you have probably seen the sign up sheet going around that we were trying to do 3 consecutive Wednesdays with Marissa from Ohio State and another organization called Rowan. That had to be rescheduled, so we're gonna only do 1 evening now. It's March 22nd from 6 to 8:30 p.m. If you had already signed up for that, Rowan has reached out to you, but we still need just 6 people for that event. So we'll send something in the newsletter and a special email about it. So yeah. All right, Gary.
Now we're gonna send the ladies.
Chrissy.
So we've heard from the folks at Boundless several times, most recently talking about the opening of their new health center, which was created for those with disabilities and autism, but it is open to the general public for services. So they have invited us to tour their new health center next week. So Wednesday, March 1st from 1:30 to 2:30. So immediately following this meeting, we can all drive down and take the tour. I'll try to send a map out. We put a note in the newsletter and an email has gone out. But it's Boundless is on East Dublin, Granville, on the property of the old Harding Hospital. And we're all gonna be in the admin building, which is building H. So as you drive through campus, it kind of winds way back. Every building is clearly labeled, so building H is where the tour will start, which is not the health center, it's the admin building. And on a quick second note, I have some tickets to tomorrow's men's basketball game at OSU. If anyone's interested, please let me know. Thank you.
So we have an upcoming All Ohio Pets event on March 10th and 11th, and our district 6690 is tasked with finding folks that can help guide or play sergeant of arms or be guides through the Renaissance Hotel throughout the day. If anybody's interested in volunteering, they're trying to get as many people as possible, so the time slots will be short. If you want to volunteer to help get folks around down at the Renaissance those days, let me know.
This is just a reminder to everyone that the International Service Committee will be meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30. It'll be on Zoom as well as in presence. Hopefully, those of you on the committee will be able to show up at Courtney Chapman's place at 7:30. The reason why I'm up here is because Joe Patchen is in Colorado enjoying himself. Beyond that, also, I'm just back from the city of Veracruz in Mexico, and while there, interacted substantially with Rotary clubs there. And one of them has submitted a proposal to us for funding. Hopefully tomorrow, if you're able to join us, Win Wixel and George Norris, who were there down in Mexico with me, will be there also to share their experiences. The proposal itself is for a temazcal, which in the Nahua language means sweat lodge. It's a very special kind of health device that goes back to the 5th century, well before Columbus, well before the Aztecs of Mexico. And the proposal is actually to install this at a Paul Harris Center, which has been set up by Rotarians in Veracruz to deal with needy populations. Well, that's enough for now. Hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow and we can talk about it more. Thank you.
Rotary around the world, obviously, but we also do things at home. And one of the things we do at home is support the Dublin Food Pantry and the Worthington Food Pantry. This is, I think, the only project we have that really affects both communities. That's our name, Dublin Worthington. So that'll be on the 11th for the food drive. And thanks to Harry Bouquet Martin, we have the best lineup that we probably can get for spots to collect food and then deliver it to the pantry. So there's a few sign-up sheets around. If there's not one on your table, there's one on another table near you. Please secure that, sign up, please. You'll be at Fresh Time, either in Dublin or in Worthington, or Hills Market, or the Kroger on Bridge Street, 161 to us Worthingtonites, because we don't know from Bridge. But this is an important project, folks. Our neighbors who don't have enough food, this is where they get it. So if you can volunteer that morning, it'd be 9 to 11. You'll see there's a spot for a captain. A captain's duties is just to maintain order, because you know some of us get pretty rowdy, and to make sure that the food gets to the proper pantry. So sign up early. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. As you guys can tell, a lot going on right now. A lot of different initiatives. As an update to the bourbon raffle, I know everybody's curious where we're at with that. So we are 22 days in. We've got 37 days to go. Last week, we were at $12,167. As of this morning, we were at $17,167, so we did $5,000 in a week. We're still waiting on the Facebook ads to be approved, where I think that's gonna generate some significant velocity, so fingers crossed on that one. And as far as tickets, last week we were at 138 tickets sold. We're now at 195 tickets sold. We need to get to the 300 ticket threshold in order for us to go through with the raffle. And just one other piece of interesting information. So of those 195 tickets, there's been 83 transactions, meaning, one ticket, 3 tickets, more tickets. Of those 83 transactions, more than half have been 3 tickets or more. So there's definitely some interest in, people giving to our cause. Urban has, 3 tickets or more is at least $250. So I think we're learning a lot on this one. And of course, if you have not already shared it, please do, because like I keep saying, we're not selling raffle tickets, we're promoting them. So the farther and wider we can promote it, the more we'll sell. Okay, I think we're ready for our program. Who's coming up?
In our programs, we try to cover a wide range of topics, and today's is going to be on healthcare. And I think the traditional form of healthcare, your doctors, your specialists, therapy places, hospitals are one side. And on the other side is wellness, where Eastern religion and those types of expressions, where we, as I understand it, in our bodies have the ability to participate in kind of a wellness way. And our speaker today is Dr. Tom Morse, who's the founder of a company or a set of places called Innovative Wellness Centers, and they marry the traditional and the modern. He's going to talk to you about the scope of his business and some of the developments recently in his area. He's got 2 people that he'll introduce that kind of work with him, and they're a little bit in the family. Tom came from, a little bit about Tom, he completed his residency in the University of Chicago Medical Center. He got a medical degree from Ohio State University. And he's interested in the application of certain non-invasive, holistic techniques that could augment traditional medicine and benefit. Over time, he's developed a unique program to help people suffering from physical, cognitive, emotional, and behavioral issues. And in 2021, 2 years ago, I guess, he launched the Innovative Wellness site, offering clients with a variety of chronic conditions such as anxiety, depression, injuries, inflammatory diseases, cravings, insomnia, PTSD, brain fog. That's for you, George. Wait. And COVID recovery and more. Recently, he was given a prestigious accreditation of the Joint Commission for Ambulatory and Behavioral Health Services. And so the opening up of what he's doing is happening, and he's here today to talk to us about that. So Dr. Tom Morris.
I'm gonna hold this because I don't really stand even over top of this building, so. I want to introduce Mary, my marketing director, to Boviac, and my daughter Stephanie. She's an occupational therapist and she's joined me on this venture. And I want to thank you, Wayne, for your introduction. And thank all of you for being here on Zoom or in person. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. As Wayne said, I was actually born in Columbus. I grew up in Central High. I actually grew up in Pickerington. That's where I graduated from high school back when Pickerington was a single high school a while back. I went to undergraduate school at Capital University, medical school at Ohio State. And then I did a I did 3 years in the Air Force after medical school. So I was there actually during my last year of the Air Force commitment and payback. The general medical officer was during the first Gulf War, Desert Storm. So following that, I did my residency at the University of Chicago in emergency medicine. So I've been a physician. I graduated medical school in 1987. So I've been a physician for a long time. I started emergency medicine in 1991, my residency. I actually spent the last 21 years before I retired from emergency medicine, just before COVID hit. Actually, it was a blessing. I didn't know COVID was coming, but I would have retired or quit otherwise. So really, I was 21 years at Riverside, just down the road here in the emergency department there with a great group called Mid-Ohio Emergency Services. So my hair is gray, so I've been around a while. And I saw medicine change quite a bit. And I grew up in a medical family. My favorite uncle was a physician. My dad was a radiation technologist. I mean, he took x-rays. My mom intermittently was a medical secretary. So I grew up in that world of, we call it allopathic or traditional medicine. And so I was steered that way. I wanted to help people, wanted to make a decent living doing it. And that's what drove me into medicine. I went to emergency medicine because as I went through medical school, I wanted to do something. I got gratification to see people get an immediate benefit from what I had to offer them. So in the emergency department, people come there in crisis oftentimes and get a chance to intervene on that and see immediate return in their well-being. To me, it was very satisfying. But I changed as I grew older. I saw medicine change as I grew older and just didn't align so well. I mean, like you've been in the healthcare system at some level for probably a while. I imagine some of you don't need to raise your hand, have been a little frustrated maybe with what's going on in medicine. Maybe it seems like I call them clients now because I think I use the term clients because I think the term client means you're involved in your care. Whereas a patient I see is the patient often feels like they're dependent upon us to help you out. So, but maybe you feel like you're just one of a number nowadays. Maybe you feel like you're really not given the time you need to express your issues. Maybe you feel just being shuffled around and given a prescription to deal with your issues rather than maybe get to the root of them. Maybe you prescribe medicine with side effects that maybe are worse than the disease itself. Maybe you have family members who, despite long-term illnesses, have continued to decline. Maybe a complication happened during their care that may have been averted, perhaps. All those types of things. So in my world, I really felt medicine changed from being why I grew up to be, why I thought it was altruistically, was a doctor-patient relationship and a healing process with the patient the primary concern. Where I felt medicine went during the 30 years I've been in there was more about government direction, insurance involvement, and government intervention, and pharmaceutical industries kind of taking control of things and kind of directing where care went, maybe at their best interest, maybe not at those of the patient. So that was my viewpoints where I'm coming from. The last 15, 20 years ago, getting a little bit older, we all have different interests. On my personal growth path, I was exposed to things that exposed to non-traditional healthcare. And before the exposure, I'll be honest with you, I was the person who would hold my hand up and somebody talk about, we'll say chiropractic care or the Eastern medical practices. And I would, because I was brainwashed and I was trained, those aren't proven, they don't work, I was that type of person. Well, what happened was I was exposed to different areas and heard about these different healing practices. Had that mindset, how can this work? Didn't make any sense. I got to know some people who had been through those experiences and claimed they had benefit from them. I was reluctant, but at least I listened to them because I got to know them better. I went to a conference where I saw a couple of things being demonstrated. I saw it in front of an audience from a stage. I thought it was a setup. I said, well, that's a plant, that's a plant, that's a plant. My mind was totally blocked on this. But then I experienced it. And once I experienced it, me and a friend of mine, and I felt immediate change within a few hours, then things started turning my head. What's going on here? How does this work? Because it made no sense in my traditional training, what I've been experienced with. And it didn't involve medicine, didn't involve manipulation, anything like that. And it was a sudden change. So actually I went back and essentially went back to school. I started reading books, going to conferences, going to training sessions. I had to retrain my brain how this could even be evolving to be something with value and that actually would benefit people. And I learned it. So I started to apply it and I've seen the benefits. And so where I got to be in this practice right now is that in the medical world, you have the traditional medical world, which there's value in it. I mean, that's emergency medicine. I'm not going to say there's not a time and place for everything. Medicine has time and place significantly, but it's not the only thing. The holistic world, it does great things. It really does. But there's a time and place for everything. There's times you need medical care. I mean, when I was in emergency medicine, before I got exposed to all these things that I brought in my practice, the patients who I knew I was going to find several things wrong with was somebody who'd never been to a doctor for 30, 35 years, 20, 25 years. Now they're in the emergency room. Well, they're in the emergency room because they've exhausted everything that they've trusted in the past. They're coming to me because they need something done, but they've held it so long. I knew I was going to find several things wrong, not just one. So the blend is really, I believe, the key to overall best health. So I started thinking, let's build this bridge, because chiropractors don't talk to doctors, doctors don't talk to chiropractors, holistic healers don't talk to anybody else either. They all have their huddles and their groups, and they're all really good, but they really don't associate with each other. So my practice is really blending all that together. I call it building the bridge. So my practice involves just a medical practice. I'm a doctor. We got the Joint Commission accreditation. That's a governmental agency, well, independent government, but the government follows. We take insurance, so it's also a medical model. So it involves an infusion, an IV, of a product called NAD, which we don't need to go into detail today, but I'll answer questions you have. But combine that with behavioral health. If somebody needs a therapist, wants to talk to a therapist, or is under therapy to care, or behavioral health therapist, they don't have one. We have that offering. So it's the mental, behavioral, emotional, the physical, and the spiritual, which is really, I call it energetic work or holistic work or vibrational medicine. And that's where it really helps create the healing process. Because what happens is, let me back up a little bit, and I apologize, is that we have physical illnesses, diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune disorders, inflammatory disorders, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, sleep disturbance, the list goes on and on and on. What causes those? What really causes the majority of what's going on in your physical world and health is what's going on in your mind for years and decades. Your mind controls your body, most of it subconsciously. So let's go back a little bit. In the early days, we're meant to see if a snake's in the grass, we see the snake, we think it's a snake, we either run from it or it bites us and it's dealt with. If it's just a stick, we move on and that crisis goes away and we go back to normal. What happens in the world today is COVID, social media, television, just everyday life with relationships. Things go on during your life that they may have resolved. They sit in the back of your mind. They can constantly affect you, whether you realize it or not. I think all of you right now, I ask you to think of something that gives you like the rush when it comes up your mind. I'm sure you can recall it, and you feel that emotional rush and response, that adrenaline rush. If you can bring it up like that consciously, and it causes that, your subconscious mind, it's always back there doing something. I compare it to having your foot on the gas, having a car. You put your foot on the gas and it goes. There's times that car needs to be in park or idle or just shut off. If your foot's always on the pedal, always running continuously 24/7, things are going to wear out. Your car is going to fall apart. It's going to need care, maintenance, replacement. Same thing happens to the human body. Over time, it affects you. How does it affect you? It affects your sleep, it affects your mood, it affects your blood pressure, it affects your blood sugar. It presents a disease, dis-ease, illness, and chronic pain. For example, chronic pain, you may be in a car accident, you've had a neck injury. Of course it hurts. You've healed from that neck injury over weeks or months, but you still have chronic pain. Why is that pain there? Everything that shows the test, that's normal. It's because the memory of the accident is still stuck there in your neck. So that's how the program works. So the program is to address the physical issues in the short term and right away. That's where the infusions help. Brings this natural thing your body requires to produce energy and function to help deal with some of the inflammation, the autoimmune stuff, the brain function, so forth, regeneration, rejuvenation, and so forth. But those are good, those get great results. The key is clearing out the garbage in the back of our minds, is just keeping us in that state over periods of time. And that's where the holistic energetic work happens. It involves a non-manipulative procedure, laying comfortably on a massage table. And without being able to do illustration up here, we bring out of your subconscious, conscious mind, things that are affecting you physically, and we clear them out. It's like peeling off layers of an onion. And over time, your sleep improves, your overall mood improves, your anxiety lowers, your medication requirements lessen, some of them go away. All those things occur over time. That's the benefits we see. I have a client there today who had COVID a year ago, got through the COVID, supposedly, had persistent weakness, fatigue, malaise, couldn't go back to work full time. This is an office job for weeks. Came to our practice for 3 days, went back to work full time the following week. It's done great until this person acquired COVID again about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. It's also has some chronic back pain issues flaring up. Is back there today to get rid of the brain fog, the persistent malaise and fatigue, to get that energy level back to where that person can function, go back to work more effectively, sleep better, get her taste and smell back, and help start addressing her back pain. And this is in conjunction with their regular doctors. I'm not taking anybody away from their doctors, chiropractors and holistic healers. It's to augment their care, get into the next level. Does that make sense? So it is unique practice. So I'm the first one doing it this way, especially on an insurance model, Medicare included. So getting the word out is important. That's why I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. Those of you know somebody or interested at all, give us your information or reach our website and we'll get in contact with you or arrange for a consult or talk over the issues. If anywhere you want me to speak, whether it's a group or an organization and so forth, I'm happy to do that because talking about it is the way people get to know it. Once people experience it, they see the results. That's what's great. Something I didn't talk about is what about the results? Well, anybody can say they feel better. And people tell us as they go through the program how they've improved. That's a subjective statement. I believe their testimonials because I'm doing the treatments. I like to see them get better, see their lives change. But we also do what's called a brain mapping. And that shows how things quantitatively change in the patient's mind and how the brain functions. That's correlating with how their life is changing. What we do, it's a cap you put on the head. It's painless. It's like an EKG of the heart, except it's of the brain. So it measures the electrical output of the brain from about 24 different places around the head. It's read by a neuroscientist. We go over it, it talks about, it'll show things like PTSD. It'll show underlying chronic pain, depression, anxiety, sleep issues. All those types of things are shown on this quantitative EEG. So that's how they're wiring and firing. What we see over time is, as we repeat the QEEG, as time goes on, the way their brain work changes. They say they're happier when it shows up in the QEEG. They say they're sleeping better. It shows up in the QEEG. Their pain's getting better. It shows up in the QEEG. The PTSD is improving the QEEG, the depression. So to quantify their brain actually is changing how it wires and fires. And those are where you get the long-term sustained results. Does that make sense? Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you have an opinion on the benefits or risks of medical marijuana?
It's my opinion, so I'll tell you that right now. I was practiced for 30 years, right? So I saw how the opioid crisis developed. And it really was, the untold story is, it was pushed on us. And that's a whole different lecture. So what medical marijuana does, there are certain receptors in the brain that opioids affect. That's how the opioids are like Vicodin, the controlled drugs, heroin, fentanyl, those are all opioids. Marijuana actually hits those same receptors that the opioid does. And so it creates addiction issues. Well, in my opinion, what medical marijuana is, it's basically the next step from opioids, a step down, but still a drug. My program involves getting away from those drugs, not using those drugs, because in the medical world, we substitute one pill for another or one treatment for another, but still a medical application of a substance that may have some benefits, but it's not without side effects. Does that make sense? And I don't know what your opinion is, that's mine. So, I have my license to prescribe controlled substance. I can do medically assisted treatment if I want to. I choose not to do it because it's not my mindset. My mindset is it's attack the issue, the problem, and not just keep treating the symptoms. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, I was wondering, have you interacted with psychologists?
Yes. Yes. In fact, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a divisional paper.
I actually have a behavioral therapist in my practice, so what they like is the fact I'm not using drugs. I'm not prescribing antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. Those are open to, again, psychology kind of goes through the medical model, so to speak. Okay, even though they're psychologists, it's kind of the medical training, so to speak, without the drugs. So it's like anything else. It's like if they're open to non-traditional methods in terms of a medical approach, but not medical, and use those to help augment what they're doing. Because what's great about psychology, behavioral health is you have a chance to talk about your issues and work through them and find out methods to control and address things as they come up. What's challenging for psychologists is the subconscious, what's really going on back there that the client's not even aware how it's affecting them. So after you talk about it, they're not even realize that's what's keeping them up at night. Does that make sense? So that's, again, that's part of the bridge. That's my practice has that part to it between both. If that makes sense. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know every probably client is different, every treatment plan is different, but can you talk at a high level, kind of what the process looks like?
Yeah. The process involves a medical consult with myself or another medical provider. So individually go through just like any specialist, your history, what your issues are, what your challenges are. And then we together, what are your goals and how can we accomplish those together in our program? So that kind of sets up where we are. The brain mapping is usually done before we start, if somebody doesn't want for whatever reason. So we know where you are, how the brain's actually functioning. We have that quantitative information in the record and review with you. The program itself, like someone like the person we had the other day, the COVID recovery thing, they're there for 2 or 3 days in a week and they're done with the program. But the majority of people like ourselves are doing things been going on for a long period of time. That's kind of where they are. So you didn't get to where you are overnight. And despite what they'll tell you, you're going to have some changes soon, but to get really long-term results is going to take some time. So it usually involves over several months, 10 to 12 sessions, usually 1 or 2 in the first week or 2 or 3 in the first couple of weeks. They start to spread out a session every 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. They usually lengthen out over time because as people improve, they'll need to come in this often. And the standard day is get an infusion of NAD and some macronutrients, different vitamins, so work depends on the individual. That usually takes about 3 to 4 hours. While you're there, you get the holistic work done. We spoke about earlier. And also, if someone's engaged with our behavioral health therapist, your consult will occur there on a separate appointment panel. It works on your schedule and the therapist schedule. And that's kind of the standard day and how the program works. Well, over several months then, after about 10 or 12 sessions for most people, we repeat the quantitative EEG. You've already told us what your changes have been, how you expect your life, relationships better, work life's better, sleep's better, mood's better. Then we have the quantitative EEG that shows how your brain actually reorganizes. Things are actively improving already, and other areas are actually undergoing changes in your brain waves firing and firing. They're still in a process of redevelopment to reorganize itself. Yes.
People that dream all the time, every night.
I'll be honest with you, most people do dream every night. They just don't always remember them. So you mean waking up from your dreams and being anxious about them, or what do you mean?
I dream every night.
Yeah.
And one person said, well, that's when you're in a deep.
Well, yeah, you get in your REM. That's why I say most people do dream every night because the most restful sleep's in your REM cycle. That's when you have your dreams kind of occur. To back it up a little bit, people with opioid dependency and even like alcoholism, they will not dream at night oftentimes. And one of the first things they do when they're in a program like this, they notice how they're starting to dream again. They get restful sleep. So, it's kind of the reverse of what a lot of people normally experience, and they get that back, and that's a reflection of their sleep pattern improving. So if you remember dreams, that's great. Most people wake up and they remember the last one they woke up to, and then an hour later they can't remember what it was. But you're a very vivid dreamer. That's good. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Do you treat diabetics?
Yeah, I mean, here's how the program works. I don't take over your diabetic care, but we treat you and your diabetes as we sit down and talk in a private session. There are other things contributing to where you are, and what you'll see over time with our program. Here's how it works. You come to our program, and certain medications you're on, you may require less of. There's certain medication you may be able to stop. You'll see lab abnormalities improve. So what happens over time? as maybe your blood pressure is improving and maybe your sugar is improving, things like that, you'll require less medication. But it'll be between you and your primary care doctor, your specialist to determine that. I won't manage those. I'll just say, based on what you're doing right now, it looks like maybe you want to talk to your doctor about maybe what you should do about this next. It's always an informed decision you make on your own based on talking to everybody involved. But yes, absolutely. Yes, anybody else? Sir?
How's the insurance application? I come in and you have all this mix. Isn't that
Yeah.
kind of a complicated how you bill and where?
Yes, in emergency medicine, I didn't have to worry about that, right? So,
Yeah.
somebody else is doing billing and coding. So in business, you learn a lot about insurance. The goal is to hold on to their money, even though it's your money, right? But so the way insurance works, everybody's insurance is different. Both of you may have Blue Cross, but you may have different plans within Blue Cross. We do take Medicare now. But what happens is we just have you supply us with some information, basically your insurance card and a valid ID like a driver's license. I have somebody who specializes on that, and they look at she'll even call the insurance company to verify benefits and see what your benefits for your plan are. Some plans cover absolutely everything. That's probably the exception. Most plans at least offset the cost in some way. And that's what makes us unique. Yeah, not every plan covers everything we do. Some of what we do is not traditional. So some insurance companies call that experimental. So that's the reason not to pay us. So that's kind of how it works. That answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
How about, how do you expand your audience? You know, are you on TV or do you have word of mouth? What's your way of growing?
Well, Mary's my marketing director. So, and actually we're learning as we go. Come and talk to groups like yourself. I mean, what was nice, you're already talking about before I even come up about Eastern medicine and type things. That's an unusual audience to walk in, especially an older group per se, that's open to maybe even have the door open to how some of these things may even be possibly benefit people and see other people experience that practice. So I'll talk to a group any size. You know, we're working on our social media, we're working on our website. It's I learned behind everything, there's a science behind it that helps get your name out there. And so, and actually those of you here today want to be in contact with us, give us your information before you leave. There we go. But yeah, it's all those kinds of things. We're really learning as we go. When you're first one out of the gate, that's the challenge, how to get your name out there. Because word of mouth does work, but you got to get some people in there to get the word of mouth out, right? Those who've been there have shown great benefits, and we got those testimonials, but it's going to take a little time. That's why we're here, and that's why I'm glad you're here to talk. Let me talk to you.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He'll probably stay 10 or so minutes after we then ask him a personal question.
All right, I want everybody here to give yourselves a round of applause. You know why? You know why?
Sure.
Tell me.
No phones.
There you go. No, it's a cell phone one. Good job. All right, before we wrap up, as always, we have our raffle. How much is it?
$15 in the daily.
$15. Dollar away from lunch.
The last four digits are 8941.
8941. All
Another 5 years, you might win again.
right. If you're lucky.
Dollars in the day.
14. Let's get it on there.
Real money goes.
That's 4. Yes.
8961.
8961. Ken.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
A more generous guy.
You see what you draw.
Queen of spades. That is full.
No cigar.
Half. I don't know.
Just put cards away. All over left.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a new deck. All right, and as is tradition, if you would join me in the recitation of the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do first.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all?
Third and fourth. Thank you, everybody. Please remember to turn your cell phones on and put your badges back in the box. Have a great week. We are adjourned.
Oh, I see.